And we should be live coming up in just a second. And I'm waiting to see us on the transcoder. And I'm going to turn off the notification on my phone that says it's time to start the show. There we go. And here we are. Okay, good. I'm going to start the music. So let's play and let's see where we go. Dance with me.
Yeah.
So you want to be
a cool kid. We are. Okay. Hanging with the in kids.
Looking real.
Getting ready here. Look at this woman's gorgeous colors. New Saucy Dame. Here we go. The bridge. You ready? Bop, 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 bop. Okay. Thank you to Serge Hoffman, who put music and voice to the lyrics I wrote. I'm Bonnie D, and I'm here on Two Saucy Dames. Yes, twice in one day. Lucky you on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube. And I have a new Saucy Dame I'm going to introduce to you. Her name is Suzan. I want to call her Suzanne because she's got a Z in her name. She's very, very interesting. But let me just do a little opening here so we get to know her, and then she'll give us her bio and we'll find out more. So here we are. Bonnie D and Suzan O. Seasoned speakers, numbers nerds, and writers whom you may know. I hope you like that. From the halls of social's embrace, we create inspirations with style and grace. Suzan Owens sees life through numbers and signs, a psychic medium. Discovering hidden designs. From the Nile to Sedona, her journey is vast. Numerology guides her, making moments that last. Her book, Wisdom of Numerology, explains numbers' might. Her travel sagas are on SuzanOwens.com, her website. Suzan is a 3-life path through and through, just like me, Bonnie D, creative, communicative, and joyful too. Now on We Dish, we're here to play Lighting Up Life in a fun, fresh way, chatting on culture, wacky news we adore, music, food, and laughter, and oh, so much more. No politics or gloom here, just joy and delight. Join us live or on demand day or night. We won't be there, but you can find us on demand while we're sleeping. Meet us for real with comments in tow. Just play nice. You know. Bonnie D and Suzan O, your two saucy dames. Together we dish on life's joyous games. Welcome, Suzan. How'd you like my intro?
I love it every time. It's such fun. Bonnie, you're fabulous. I love your creative
You're not here to tell me I'm fabulous. You're here to talk about how fabulous you are. So I invited you. I met you on my Read My Lips Cool Conversations with Creatives with akaRadioRed show a few weeks ago. And I said, that woman is a saucy dame. I want you on my other show. And what did you say, Suzan?
Absolutely. I love to talk to you. So here I am. Yay.
There you go. I'm so excited I'm choking here. Okay, so I'd like you to give us a little bit of real bio. If you can squeeze in about 50 words, let's see what you have to say. Give us a short, brief bio. Go ahead, Suzan.
Well, thanks for your poem because you kind of gave a lot away already. I'm a numerologist. I'm an intuitive psychic medium. I'm a world traveler. I've been to 45 countries, lived in a lot of them for extended periods of time. Cairo, Egypt is a home away from home. I always feel like I've returned home when I go visit there. I love doing numerology readings. My book, Wisdom and Numerology, big part of my life. I'm working
Hold it
on
up again. Hold it up again. It flashed in front of us. We want to see it.
That was too quick.
No, we can't see it. Move it. Nope. It's all disappeared because you don't have a green screen. Move it. Nope.
Oh, that's right.
There we go. We got it. We got a little bit of it. Okay, good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I forgot about the green screen.
Go ahead.
And I'm, you know what, Bonnie, I'm working on a new one for teens, and I'm very excited about that because I remember when I was a teenager that I would love to have had some guidance about what my gifts are, what life, the future holds, and all that. So I'm working on that book. Hopefully that'll be out early next year. Anyway, so I love to talk. I love to write. Communication's my thing. And no wonder we're both 3 life paths. No wonder I like hanging out with you because we're sisters in a lifetime. This is just
explain. That's why I put it in the poem because I want you to tell us what is a 3 life path. How did you get there? Don't give our birthdays out, but just tell us how you did it. Okay, go ahead.
Well, that's how that's the key ingredient to a life path is adding your birth date together. Take all those digits and keep adding them until you get 1 digit. And we did that on your birth date and my birth date, and we're 3. And that just sort of says we are kindred spirits, if you will. We have a lot in common. Means that we're very creative. We like to communicate. We like to either write. There's some creative power that we have, whether we're singers or dancers, like I said, writers, communicators, authors, any of those creative force. We love life. Threes love life. Threes are pretty lucky too. Isn't that a funny thing about a 3?
Mhm.
Three's a lucky number, truthfully. And
Really?
we are the ones to really be here on the planet to show people how to really enjoy life. That's basically what we're about.
I love that. Now, what would happen, Susan, if my numbers, and so everybody knows when you add the numbers, you take, let's say your birthday is November, that would be 11, and then
Right.
you plus, and let's say your birthday was the 25th, close to
Okay.
Thanksgiving, 11 plus 25, you add that up, and that would
Right.
be 36, and 36 is 3 and 6, 3 plus 6 equals 9, and then
Right.
let's say you were born in 2000, so it would be 9 plus 2, because the zeros don't count, is 11, and that's
Right.
2 ones, and that's 1 plus 1, so you would be a 2. Did I do that right?
Well done. You're
Good.
hired. Absolutely.
I'm
Yes.
I'm looking
That's
for a
exactly
job.
right.
That's fine. So what
Yep.
would it be if somebody's path number was a 2? Just a little bit, Susan. What would they be like?
Well, that too means that they are wonderful supporters. They're the mediators. They're the ones that want everybody to get along. They're diplomats. They aren't the ones that want to be in the front of the room. They are really happy being at the back of the room supporting other people. They're very intuitive. They pay attention to details. Particularly that number that you came up with is an 11 2, which gives you a higher spiritual
Oh,
element to it. We don't we have time to get into master numbers, but basically, twos are very intuitive. And the thing about the two, sometimes they don't stand up for themselves because their main concern is being supportive, and they just want everybody to get along.
question for
That's
you.
kind of their thing. Hmm.
How does numerology vibe or jibe with astrology, with the zodiac? Because I'm in October and Libras are fair and balanced. I know, don't laugh at me, but we want people to get along, or we want to get along. So how does that balance out? Do they conflict with each other, Susan?
No, and you know what? That three isn't the only number in your chart, and you can have numbers that conflict and or look like they do. But what it means is that sometimes you feel that two energy more than you might feel a five energy that might be in your chart. So there's no conflict. And the way that I love astrology too. I haven't studied it nearly as much as I studied numerology, but I look at them like a zipper. There's information you get out of numerology that you don't get in astrology and vice versa. So, and I throw the tarot in there too, a tarot deck too, because I get some information about that. But no, I don't see conflict. I see that it's all part of an integrative whole. That's how I
Thank
look at
you.
everything
Thank
like
you. Thank you. And I want all my audience to know that this is not an interview. This is a conversation. Susan
that.
and I
Right.
are talking back and forth. I don't do interviews anymore. We talk back and forth. We chat with each other. So now, because this is two saucy dames, and this is your first time, and I have three other ladies so far who've been on Too Saucy, and I have three more new ones coming next week and the week after, whom also I met on Read My Lips, my radio show. So I'm expanding the Two Saucy Women. One of these days, I'm going to do a reunion with everybody all on one Zoom, and we'll have everybody talk about it. That'll be fun. Toward the holidays. So, Susan, I sent you a list. Oh, I didn't do my bio. Live radio producer, creator, host, storyteller, playwright, artist, drummer, da-da-da-da-da, poet, creator of the 3 Minute Soundbite Business Roundtable, early woman in tech, former stand up, trying to be funny, sitting down. There you go. I got so carried away with the numbers. And 3 is not my lucky number, but I might have to make it that. So I sent you a list of songs, not necessarily by females, some by groups, females, males. And I asked you to pick a couple of songs that describe or define you, Susan Owens, as a saucy dame. So you want to share a couple of those songs and then I'll share mine? Go ahead.
There's so many on that list, and then there were so many that but to whittle it down, I'm having the time of my life. And actually I've had the time of my life, But for me, this is my time right now. Life just gets better and better. If I had a billboard, I'd put that on it. Life just gets better and better. I'm having the time of my life doing this. I
I
love
love
talking to
you.
people, meeting new people. Yeah, love it.
You got any couple of other songs you want to share that describe you?
Dance, Last Dance, love that. Dancing Queen, any of those. I love to dance, love to move, love the music. Any chance I can get to wiggle, I like I like that. Okay, how about you? What are your
Oh
favorites?
my goodness. Well, I've got a bunch. She Works Hard for the Money by Donna Summer. I'm a disco gal.
Oh,
I used to
high
teach
five.
disco. I taught it for years with different partners. I was in Eugene, Oregon, and I had a class. I taught, interesting, we taught line dances at a senior center, mostly ladies. I used to take my lunch break. I was a computer programmer analyst. I left my day job at noon. I grabbed a couple of bagels and flavored cream cheese with blueberries in them and ran over to the senior center, and I conducted a line dance class, and we had so much fun, and then I'd go back to work. Well, at one point, Susan, we went to a local disco and said to the DJ, what if we bring, and my partner his name was Michael. He was a very interesting guy, former Arthur Murray dance teacher.
Yeah.
And we taught couples as well as single people and line dances and hustle and cha-cha and all that good stuff. So I said to the DJ, can we invite our students here? And he said yes. So we had dozens of ladies, a couple of men come, and he played really cool music, and he went out on the dance floor because he set up the playlist, and he danced with some of our students, and we did all of our line dances, and we had a blast. We really did. That was the disco era. I even made up a couple of line dances of my own, but that was just fun. So She Works Hard for the Money. I wasn't paid for my dancing or my exhibition dancing. However, I have worked for many years, and Susan, I think I'm on my ninth career. Does that
Oh
count with
my gosh.
numerology? I think maybe
I
it's
love
my
it.
seventh.
I
Yeah.
love it.
And I fell into all kinds of things over the years, and now I talk for a living. Also, Dancing Queen, yes. Happy Dance. Happy Dance is a song by interestingly enough, a Christian group called Mercy Me. And if you have a chance to find it, go find the music video. It's taking place in somebody's basement at a wedding. And the music group goes and finds people sitting in the back of the room. Hey, you with the concrete shoes, get up and dance. And they have little kids dancing in the wedding party and the bride. And it's such a happy song. One of my radio guests picked that as her song quote, Happy Dance. And I became a huge fan of the group and the song. So Happy Dance by Mercy Me. You have to find it. I can't
I'll
play
look
it
it
on the
up.
show. And then
Definitely.
just like you, I've had the time of my life. And another one is You Don't Own Me by Leslie Gore.
I love that one too. It just speaks volumes, especially I don't think it's ever lost its timeliness,
No.
but it's coming back. It's coming back around again in a strong part.
You want to
Yeah.
know a secret?
Yes.
I had a TV show in New York called Something to Talk About, and I invited a lot of the doo-wop groups. A lot of them were based on Long Island, not the ones from the Bronx or Brooklyn, but permutations of them. And there was
Right.
a group called Tony Ferrari's The Chaperones, not the original Chaperones, but Tony Ferrari's The Chaperones.
Okay.
And one day I said to them, hey guys, why don't we make a music video of You Don't Own Me? And they said, sure. So we went to the beach. The drummer, it was a band and four singers, and we went to the beach. The drummer had a house right on the water on the South Shore of Long Island. And we took a little dime store ring, and Tony was the guy, and I was the girl in the song. Tony was the lead of the group.
Uh-huh.
And I looked at him and I said, you don't own me. And I threw this fake ring into the water. We had somebody with a video camera. This is way before iPhones, way before iPhones, videoing this. We had a fight on the beach and I threw. And then we did the second part. We went to my TV studio, decorated it like a high school gym, Susan. We invited the band and their wives and their girlfriends and their boyfriends and everybody and my friends. And we populated it like a high school dance. And I was dancing with somebody else. And Tony was dancing. I guess it was with his wife. And the camera found me and I said, you don't own me. And we made a whole music video, but my voice was so weak, even though I was taking singing lessons. They had a girl in their band dub over me for this. I don't have
Okay.
that anymore, but we made a music video of You Don't Know Me. Is
I
that cool?
love it. That is fabulous. And what a great song too.
It
I mean,
was
really
wonderful.
following.
It's a freedom anthem, but I
It
went
is.
to the same college as Leslie Gore, the woman who
Oh,
sang the
no
song.
way.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
Sarah Lawrence College back in
Yeah.
the day when it was girls only, Bronxville, New
Mhm.
York. And one day I was in the bookstore and I saw Leslie Gore. No, I didn't run. I just nodded and said, "I know who she is," and
I
I
don't.
went about my business. So that song has a lot of meaning. So we did our. So that's why we're saucy. What does saucy dame mean to you? I invited you to be a saucy dame. Do you have a definition, Susan? I didn't prepare you for this, but right off the top, what's saucy about you?
Flavorful. When I think of saucy, I
Ooh.
think flavorful.
Mm.
Seasoned. I'm seasoned. I'm no youngster, although I feel a lot younger than I am my age. But I think there's seasoned flavor, and dame is an okay word. I have a there's some other words that women are called that I years ago that I'm not very fond of, and but dame, I accept that one because I think that's an okay one because that kind of says you've been around. How do I say that? You've been around the block, you know stuff. You've learned, you've had life lessons. That's a dame,
I
I would
like
say.
that. I like
So
that. And by the way, some people say to me, too, TOO saucy, it should be TWL because it's Bonnie. No, we're too saucy.
yeah,
We're over the top saucy, right? I
there it
like
is.
the idea of seasoned and dames, yes. When I
Mhm.
was drumming, I used to call myself a drummer chick, and I was okay with the word chick
Yeah,
because
me
I was
too.
a girl
Chick is
drummer.
okay. I
That
can do
wasn't
that
bad.
one.
A lot of other
Yeah.
words. I went through a whole bunch of words, and I'm trying to come up with a guy version of this, and it'll be one saucy dame and one something guy. I don't know what to call it. Could it be a cool dude, or I don't know what to call if I had a male guest? Any ideas what I could call it?
Dude fits just because it's a dame. So I always like
Yeah,
the me thing, you're doing that.
too
Um,
saucy dude plus dame. Could a guy be saucy? I don't know.
I don't
Maybe
know.
I have to
Yeah.
think about it. If anybody wants to write in, that would be fine. We're live on LinkedIn right now. They probably
Oh,
have
I know
some
what I'm
ideas.
thinking about today now. I'll have to come up with something for you.
Yeah, come up with
I,
something. I would love that. Now I want to know what your super creativity superpower is. I think you've already told us about 20 of them, but Susan, what would be your creativity superpower? When did you find it or get it, or did it just arrive? And do you
Hmm.
like it or not like it?
You know, because I'm a three, threes are the communicators, right?
Hmm.
I didn't really know that that's what my superpower was, but I love to talk like you. No wonder no wonder we're friends. But I absolutely love to communicate, and I usually do. I love talking to strangers. I mean, that's how you meet people. All my world travels have been on my own. I've
Yep.
been independent, and I make it up as I go along. And so I talk to strangers, and it's amazing what I've learned just talking to people. And anybody that's different and has a different life than I've had. Oh my gosh, I'm all over it. So communication is really, really important. My my problem sometimes is, and you probably already know this, is when do you stop? Because
Hmm.
when you're talking, you're not necessarily, well, you're not listening for one, but you're not always learning things when you're talking. So there has to be a balance to that. So there's my
Yep.
superpower. I love to talk, and I love to talk to people, and I do love to listen to people too as well. So that's what else.
I agree. I'll tell you a funny story. I'm mostly office home based now because I'm broadcasting. And my one big outing a week is going to the supermarket. I'm in a place in Tennessee where it's I'd say a peninsula surrounded by lakes and golf courses, and it's a straight road to the supermarket. And I go every week whether I need stuff or not. And I go and I talk to people. I don't accost people, but in the entrance to the supermarket where the carts are stored, they have a pop up with the hand sanitizer, the little
Right.
towelette,
Yeah.
the towelette still left over from COVID, and they're
Yeah.
still filling it. So I always go in, I take a card, I push it with my wrists or my palms, and then I go and take this and I wipe off. Well,
Mhm.
there's a woman who's in this lobby, if you will, in front of me, and I have a big card because I always buy enough for a week or 10 days. And she's got a little cart, the kind you just put a dozen eggs and milk and juice and 3 bananas in, and that's it. And she's taking one of these wipe towelettes, and Susan, she is wiping the handle, and she's wiping the sides, and she's wiping the inside. And so I looked at her and I said, boy, I want to learn from you. I said, do you want to trade carts? I've got the big one. You want to do mine? She burst out laughing. And I said, lady, this is phenomenal. I need to do that too. And we started talking just for 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And then I said, why don't you go in? The door opened automatically. And she said, thank you. And I said, thank you. That was a conversation that didn't need to happen, but it did for me. And then I decided it was time to buy fresh mushrooms. Haven't bought them in years. I decided I was going to make an omelet with mushrooms and Vidalia onions and blah, blah, blah. So I couldn't find them. I found the baby bells. I didn't want the bella. I wanted the regular white cap mushrooms.
Right.
Okay. I finally found them near the organic vegetables. They were in a corner, and there weren't too many, but I found one that looked really good. And at that moment, two much younger women came into the store. They might have been sisters, or they seemed like they might have been sisters or friends. And one said to the other, damn, I can't find the mushrooms. And then one of them looked, I don't know how this happened, Susan. She looked at me in my cart and she said, well, that lady's got mushrooms. They must be here. And I said, gals, or I didn't call them people, call people
Right.
guys. I said, they're over there in the corner. And I'm pointing, I said, in the corner next to the green beans and the kohlrabi or whatever was there. And they said, well, thank you. And I said, well, it's my pleasure to guide you to the mushrooms. I had trouble finding them too. And the two of them laughed. And then we ended up walking around the store in tandem just a little bit. I've had this with other people, and it made my day.
Isn't it? And
Yeah.
that's, yes. And that's the thing, because people say that, or
Yeah.
studies prove that it's really connection that
Yes.
is uplifting,
Yes.
for people. It's certainly not staying at home watching television. It's
No.
really making that connection with
Yeah.
people. I have a quick story about that too.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I was in China, in Hong Kong, and I couldn't decide where I was going to go next. I had some things lined up, and I was staying at anyway, I was at a buffet at the hotel, and I was talking to somebody, and he traveled around China some, and I said, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do next. And he looked at me and he said, you know what you need to do? You need to look into a panda preserve and see what you could do about volunteering. And I said,
What?
I never would have thought of that. Sure
No.
enough, I looked into this Feng Shui Panda Preserve, and I wrote to him and I said, I'm traveling. I'd love to volunteer. And so I got to hold a baby panda, and I got to take care of the pregnant mamas, which was strictly panda poop patrol, really, is all that was. But they all ate bamboo, so it wasn't painful. It was fun. And for a whole weekend. And that was enough. It was like, wow, this is life. So don't miss an opportunity. I mean, neither one of us will, right? Don't miss an opportunity to talk to somebody, because you never know what you're going to find out. And then the other piece of that is, I always greet people. Good morning, good afternoon. I always do when I'm taking my dog for a walk or just walking. And some people don't even look at you.
Mhm.
And that's okay. I still greet. It's like, I get it. You're not into that. Totally fine. But the ones that are, then we just have fabulous conversations. So it
I'll
really.
share a story with you. I had a therapist, not shy to say I've had therapists over the courses of the years. I had a wonderful lady who ended up being a therapist into her mid 90s, even when she was totally legally blind. She dressed like a movie star every day. She had more clients. I think she saw people 6 days a week. She had over 20 clients. Nobody wanted to stop seeing her because she was just wonderful. But you'd sit in her house was I call it a mini mansion, a couple blocks from where I live. So no matter what the weather, I walked to therapy. It was 2 blocks away. I was living on Long Island in Great Neck, and right up to the corner of my building and then into the gated community. Well, no, it had gates, but they weren't closed gates. The community, Kensington, I would 2 blocks away, snow, rain, sleet, unless it was hail, I walked. I loved the walk. I got the air and I got to think, and I went, and she had this little waiting room outside her office. Her office, Susan, had, I'd say, 25-foot ceilings with collections of things you would love, this from all over the world, hundreds and hundreds of books, a desk that must have been 30 feet long with, I'll call them tchotchkes, but that's a rude term. It doesn't mean junk. It's stuff. And she had artwork from her clients in this little waiting room, which had a chair, one of those chairs that has it's like a coat rack with the hooks on the
Yep.
back, the old kind, the
Yeah,
big wooden,
yeah,
very
yeah.
stiff. And there was a little bathroom there, and she had magazines there and artwork from clients. And when the last client before me came out. She was sitting in her chair, very small woman, very short, and one word came out of her mouth when it was time for me to come in, and the word was welcome.
Love
I'm
it.
about to cry.
That's beautiful.
It was beautiful. It wasn't, hey, it's your turn, come in, or next, or Bonnie, it's, I'm ready for you. It was welcome.
Mm.
And besides, she had chocolate kisses in the purple wrapping. Yeah,
Well,
little-
chocolate always makes everything better,
and,
but
and a
still,
little thing, and I took some for the walk home. Yes, go ahead.
no, I love that, and because that's such a positive word. I'll have to do the numbers on welcome because that's an interesting
Yeah.
word because and it's so willkommen and bienvenue and all.
Yes.
Love that
Yes.
word. It's
I
beautiful.
agree. And by
Yeah.
the way, speaking of communication and conversation, I did a We Dish Two Saucy Dames with Mary N a couple of hours ago. I'm doing two today, which is, I've never done this before, but the timing was right. So one of my wacky articles, and we'll get to our stories in a second, our headlines, it was somebody I follow, Bill Murphy Jr., has a newsletter called Understandably. I can send you the link. It's a free newsletter. And he goes into different stories and he does a lot of research. And he's a very good writer. And he was curious about the top rated 25 TED Talks. And he put the top 25 took the transcripts and put them into one document and analyzed them for keywords. This was the equivalent of a 200-page book.
Interesting. Oh my gosh.
And he
Okay.
looked for the word laughter and the word applause and the word question mark and period. And what he came up with was these 25, regardless of the topics on which they were speaking, the key to the success was that they paused and they either posed a question to the audience or they let them think about something rather than just going on and on. So he said a TED Talk, to be successful, was something that inspired not conversation because they were doing it as a lecture basically, but inspired thoughtfulness and inspired the possibility of a conversation, of somebody to think and be inspired to think bigger or think about something else. I thought that was fascinating. So he said, don't just go and recite stuff to people. What do you think? You like that?
I love that. I've been working on, I want to do a TED Talk too someday and next year. And I love that idea about inspiring people and uplifting people. And that's what I do in my numerology and my readings. I always try to give people something for them to think about and go away with. But that, I wouldn't have said that when you were coming together. I wouldn't have guessed that that was the answer to that. But of course, I want to be included, right? You want connection when you're doing a conversation, when you're doing a talk or in a conversation, any kind, regardless if there's 100 people out there or two, right? You want connection, and asking questions gives you connection. So that's really interesting.
And that's why on my Read My Lips radio show and my Technology Revolution show, I have roundtable panels so that people can speak and hear each other. 3-minute sound bites. I don't do that on this show. This is more a looser conversation. But I have, Susan, you won't believe this. I couldn't believe it. I have guests who've met on my show, never would have crossed paths before in any way. And they are writing books together. Some of them are giving, one of them is a mentor and an instructor in coding for young girls. And another one is a network computing specialist. They got together and did events for young girls to learn how to code together. So, I had one on a show the other day, and one said he was doing some research into AI for certain of his business clients and for some industries. And another one of the 4 on the panel said, I need to talk to you after the show. That's why I do the panels. That's why I do the roundtable, because they meet and they hear each other and they see each other's bios and they learn and they get excited. That's somebody I want to know. Isn't that interesting?
I love it. I love it. You're a networker, clearly, through and through.
I guess so. But I don't do corny networking like, okay, everybody put your business card up.
No. You do it bigger. You do it bigger in a
thank you.
Yeah. Well, when I did your show, there were 2 other people that I'd kind of met before. One of them, Samuel, I believe.
Samuel Bentel.
Yes, I love him. He's from Ghana. And when
Hmm.
I'd had an opportunity to talk to him before, and I got to tell him that I knew a Ghanaian when I was in college. And I even repeated the name because I remembered it. And college was quite a few years ago. But anyway, and Samuel said, yeah, that name is familiar. So it's a famous name in Ghana, I mean, of all things. But Samuel and I really connected on a different level. So yes, bringing people together is fabulous. I love that about
And
you.
full disclosure, I met Susan at the National Publicity Summit, where I get about 95% of the guests for my Read My Lips Creativity Roundtable show. And you impressed me so much, and you had the most gorgeous purple chair behind you. Today, I asked you to use the background so we match, but God, you had great colors. And that was part of the reason I said, that's a saucy dame. She's got. So I'm enjoying this very much. Let's do our wacky headlines. You do one, I'll do one, you do one, I'll do one, and let's see what we do. So, what have you got? Any interesting
Oh,
news to share?
well, it's not interesting news, but it's silly. Okay, so here's one. State population to double by 2040. Babies to blame. So they're blaming babies because that's going to increase the population. It's like, well, maybe you need to step back a little bit, but I thought that was a funny one.
And they're blaming babies because they don't want to be only children? Is that because babies want
No,
to?
no, it's like, well, that's how the numbers are coming up is because they're babies.
Got it. Okay. Well, gee, talk about numbers. All right. I have 8 amazing facts about cheese. I found this article, but I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But you will find a couple of interesting things. Newborn children, Susan, used to be welcomed with cheese in medieval England. I'm picking this part just to tell you because of what you said. It was traditional for a father to buy a groaning cheese when his wife was giving birth. The cheese was hollowed out and pieces were given to everyone present. At the christening, the baby, this is a big piece of cheese, the baby would be passed through the wheel of cheese for good luck. Did you
Oh my
ever hear?
gosh.
I know, I know. I hope it was a damn big wheel of cheese. Here we go. So here's a little more background. One of humanity's oldest culinary creations, cheese has been around for nearly 4,000 years and comes in 1,800 varieties. I think I bought about 6 of them. Swiss cheese is a scientific mystery. Nobody knows why Swiss cheese has holes. The theory is that bacteria in the cheese emits carbon dioxide, creating bubbles or eyes that burst as the cheese matures. A 2015 study suggested small particles of hay, in the milk may cause the holes. There's evidence that these small specks weaken the cheese's internal structure, causing gas bubbles to emerge. I wasn't sure you'd like that one. I have one more on this. This is one
Okay.
article. The world's most expensive cheese. You would never guess. Any idea what the name of that cheese is? I promise you couldn't. Make something up. Anything?
Well, it's got to be French.
Nope. Not even close.
No, not even close.
You ready?
Gosh, I don't know. Yes, I'm ready.
The name of the cheese is Moose, Moose. It's made in Sweden.
Oh,
It's
I
made
wouldn't say that.
exclusively at a 59-acre farm that sells to high-end restaurants. And you want to know what it costs?
Oh dear.
Are you sitting down?
Yes.
$500 a pound. And it's rich in butterfat, rich and creamy. But there's another cheese from Serbia that is 3.5 times more expensive. It's called Pule, Pule, or Pool, made
Okay.
from the milk of Serbian donkeys. It tastes like manchego. Somebody reviewed it who was lucky enough to, I guess, hope. And they said it cost $1,700 per pound.
And it's donkey's milk. I wouldn't have thought of that.
I know, I know. I have a lot more of these 8 reasons, but I'm going to stop right now so you can do one of your other headlines. You
Oh,
go ahead.
well, now you got me moving to Tibet because when I was in Tibet, they have a thing called yak butter. And
Mm.
and you drink it and it's so bizarre because it's salty and it's yak milk and it's just a bizarre drink. Yeah, never mind. Okay, on to the next on to the next one.
Headline.
Okay, so let's see. I did have a couple of them that I thought were pretty funny. Oh, here's one. Breathing oxygen is linked to staying alive. Seriously, that was a headline I read. And I thought, okay, yes, that's right, right? We don't have to, there's no conflict there, staying alive.
Where did you look for your news?
I don't know. Well, I Googled crazy headlines, and that's why I got that one. But oh, okay, here's another one. Miracle cure kills the fifth patient. So they're doing a trial, a medical trial, right? And they're making this miracle cure for hepatitis B, I think is what it was. And they've killed 5 people on this thing. I mean, can you imagine that? It's like, why did you wait till there's 5 of them? I'm sorry, that's kind of negative, but I just thought that was so bizarre. Anyway, let's move on. You go now with something more uplifting.
Okay, I found why so many stories begin with once upon a time.
Well,
Interesting.
that's interesting. Okay, why?
The words once upon a time form a staple opening phrase that transcends the English language. Sayings are found in languages around the world. Finnish fairy tales begin with Ulipa Karen, meaning once there was. In Afrikaans, with 2 A's in it, the expression is en dag lang geled, one day long, long ago. So the question is why? The phrase once upon a time didn't just come from storybooks or storytellers. A similar expression appears in the Le Fade ont Tapasium of Saint Julien, the life and passion of Saint Juliana. I should have led with that, which dates to 1225. Though preceded by 2 short introductory paragraphs, the story kicks off with Wes Ethan time as the Redong telleth, in that time as the legend tells. The phrase becomes more familiar during the 14th century, and it became now standard at the beginning of the 1500s. Abraham Francis, the Countess of Pembroke's Ivy Church from 1591 begins with once on a time when nymphs and pastors chanced, apostrophe D, to be sporting. By the end of the century, they were satirizing it. George Peele's 1595 satiric play, The Old Wives' Tale, oh yeah, included the lines, once, and this all kinds of old English in there, once upon a time there was a king or a lord or a duke that had a fair daughter, Faire, the fairest that ever was, as white as snow and as red as blood. Okay, we'll leave that.
Oh,
And the theory is that if you started your fairy tales in the current time, it would just be interrupted because people would be thinking what was happening in the world right now. So that was my second one. Do you have a third one?
oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Another silly one. Most earthquake damage is caused by shaking.
I said wacky headlines. I didn't say weird stories. Next time it's weird story. That's a riot. And where did you find this? Brilliant.
Googled it, and then there was just a whole list of funny ones. And like I said, some of them were kind of, I didn't want to repeat them out loud, and
Yep.
because it seemed like that's what they were talking about. But these were silly, funny ones, that don't make sense. And if you actually read them as a headline, you would go, why would, anyway.
I like
So-
them. I like them. When you come back for another episode with me, you'll do weird stories. Okay, we'll
Love that.
expand it to stories. So I have another one.
Okay.
Generation Alpha. Did you know there's a new Gen Alpha? Not Gen Z, not Gen X, Gen Y. There's a new Gen Alpha. It's the
Okay.
first generation to experience remote classrooms. So you know when they were born, streaming services, portable digital devices from early childhood. They were born between 2010 and in the future, 2025, which is next year.
Next year,
So
yeah.
these are little kids. So they're 14 and younger. So a woman wrote the story and she said, this is Gen Alpha slang you need to know. She's the mother of a Gen Alpha. And I
Okay.
took 3 words. There were 10 words she had, but I'll just share these with you. So one is Riz, Rizz. Are you Riz? She was definitely turning on the Riz the other night. It comes from the word charisma.
Oh, I like it. I like
Riz
it.
is charisma. It's either a verb or an adjective. It's believed to have started as an abbreviation of charisma, and now the cool Gen Alpha kids use it to describe anyone who's turning on charm or inherently alluring. So if somebody says she's a Rizzler, it's a cousin of Riz. Okay, R-I-Z-Z.
Oh, I
Next-
like that. Oh, that's
next-
fun. I want to
yeah, I
use
like
that
it.
one. Yeah.
Next
yeah.
word is flex, someone who boasts. Like flexing your muscle, this is a person who shows off or boasts. According to dictionary.com, it's in there. It associated with Power moves, arrogance, and insincerity. Now we all know the word authentic is a big deal now, Susan. So it's
Right.
when you're not being authentic. So here's a sentence that a Gen Alpha might say. Those shoes are such a flex. You're gonna outgrow out of them in 2 months anyway.
Okay, I get the picture.
So you spent too much on your damn shoes because you
Yeah.
know you're so young, your feet are
Yeah.
growing. So why'd you bother? But you just want to show us how cool you are. Okay.
Right.
So a
Right.
power move. I can't imagine what the shoes cost in that. And here's one more. Sigma. We're talking about how to name my show for dudes.
Yeah, there it is.
Sigma is a dude who's cool or has a more subdued ego than an alpha male. So a Sigma is an alpha male who's cooler. So it describes a dude who's okay. If it's Greek to you, a Sigma male is a bro who I'm just reading what this woman wrote, who has all the power of an alpha male, but a more subdued ego, a popular boy who has that casual, cool thing going on, but it can just mean it's cool on its own. So the sentence of use is he's got so much Sigma male energy, swoon, Crocs and socks is Sigma.
I love it.
That's all I got.
And of course, it makes me think of the Greek fraternities, but I don't understand, and I don't know what sigma means in Greek. Actually, when you said it was Greek to
It's a
me,
letter. I don't know. I have to look
Mhm.
that up. Our
I don't
viewers
either.
are
But that's
probably know
interesting.
that.
I kind of like those though. I like Riz. I'll use
I like
Riz.
Riz a lot. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
because I
really
like
cool.
that charisma. That fits.
Yeah, and Flex.
Yeah.
Well, that's I used to I had a comedy show in New York, a TV show called What's So Funny. And I had a comedian who came, I met at comedy school in Manhattan, and she used to say she comes from Plainview, Long Island, and there's a real place called Plainview, and she said that's where everybody puts all their expensive stuff in the window in Plainview. So that would be Flex. They
I
were
love
flex.
it.
They were
I love
flexing.
it.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So we're just about at the end of our time. I'm not going to flash a blue light in front of you. Do you want to come back and do another one with me sometime soon, Susan?
In a heartbeat, Bonnie. You just call me anytime. I'll be here. I love it.
I'd love it. I'd love it. So I want to put the music on. I still have my sound up and by the way, I wrote the lyrics to this. I haven't read the lyrics should I do that? I don't even know where I put them. Let me see if I've got them here. So you want to be my friend, so you want to be, I'm searching my drive here. So you want to be lyrics. Okay, here we go. No, there was nothing there. My friend Serge Hoffman is a composer in Paris, and I wrote the lyrics and he sang it and he made the music for it. And I'm trying to see if I can find it real fast. Where would the lyrics be? So you want to be, no, 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 no. Give me a second here. I don't want to waste any time. Search, search, search. So you want to be audio record? Nope, I'm not finding it. I will find it somewhere. It's probably in one of my poetry. So you want to be for the event calendar? Nope. Okay. I will find it for the next time and I'll read it. But Serge sings and he composed the song for me. And so I wrote the lyrics and it's called, and I was going to write a book. So you want to be about 25 years ago and did all the research, talked to kids in the 5th grade, 6th grade, when you want to be. I did a calendar for women. I did a fundraiser, a breast cancer fundraiser lunch on Long Island. And I had a calendar with 12 women I interviewed and took their pictures. And what did they want to be when they grew up? And each woman had her own page in the
Love
calendar
that. Oh my
and
gosh.
raised money as a donation to. And I'll show that next time you're on. Okay. So
Oh,
let me
please do.
play the music now. Let's get this going here. I've got my music share up. I have my audio up. And Suzan Owens, it has been just lovely. Let's just move for a second here before I shut this down.
So you wanna be
So you want to be
a
a cool kid. See, Gen Alpha,
hanging with the inconsent.
Bonnie D, and Suzan O.
Real
Wave goodbye.
you
Wait for the bridge.
asking you thinking
Here we go.
it.
Thrum it out.
So you wanna
Wanna be. Bop, 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 bop. Bye bye.
girl.
Lower the music. Bye. Bye bye. All right.